Let's be real for a second. Have you ever set a goal for yourself? A big one. You were super excited about it, and then you just couldn't seem to make it happen. We've all been there. It is so frustrating. But what if I told you the reason we fail often has nothing to do with a lack of willpower?
To really get what I mean, let's talk about someone we'll call her Maya. Now, Maya's awesome at her job, but she's got this huge project coming up. And the final step? A massive presentation to the entire leadership team. So her goal is simple. She has to nail it. But there's a problem. She has this deep, unshakable fear of public speaking.
And this right here, this is a classic setup for something called the outcome trap. This is where we believe that to get a result, we have to focus all our energy just on that result. But here's the twist. Focusing only on the outcome is often the very thing that makes us fail.
And here's the real kicker. We get so obsessed with the what, giving the great presentation, losing the weight, writing the book, that we totally forget about the who. The who is the person you actually have to be to do those things. Because in the end, your actions are always going to snap back to align with who you believe you are deep down. This slide just lays it all out, plain and simple. It's an internal tug of war. On one side, you have her goal. I want to give a great presentation. But on the other, you have her identity, her core belief. I'm just bad at public speaking. Guess which one usually wins? That subconscious identity will sabotage her best efforts every single time, and she won't even realize it's happening. So how do we get out of this trap? Well, you have to flip the whole script. You've got to completely shift your focus. Stop chasing the what, the result, and start focusing on the who you want to become. This was the game changer for Maya. This quote right here. She stopped telling herself, I have to give a good presentation, and started repeating a new story. I am becoming a confident communicator. See that word, becoming? It's not some distant future goal. It's a process. It's something that's happening right now. And this whole approach, it actually has a name, identity-first transformation. And it's such a powerful concept. It basically says the results you get in your life are just a side effect of who you believe you are. So if you want to change the results, you can't start with your actions. You have to start with your beliefs. Okay, but that brings up a really big question, right? How do you actually start believing you're this new person? I mean, your brain isn't just going to take your word for it. It's skeptical. It needs proof. And that leads us to the first strategy. You have to start collecting evidence. Think about it. Your current identity is just the sum of everything you've done repeatedly. So to build a new identity, you need a new trail of actions. Every little win, no matter how tiny it seems, is like casting a vote for the person you're becoming. Your job is to start stuffing that ballot box. So, what did Maya's first votes look like? Well, they weren't these huge, terrifying leaps, not at all. As you can see, she started super small, just speaking up for a few seconds in a low-stakes meeting, practicing her first few sentences for just 5 minutes, asking one friendly coworker for their opinion. Each little action was like a tiny piece of evidence whispering to her brain, see, a confident communicator would do this. Now, once you start collecting a little bit of that evidence, once you've cast a few of those votes, you can level up. The next strategy is all about closing the gap between who you are now and who you want to be. It's called living the future. This simple question became Maya's secret weapon, her North Star. Anytime she felt that old wave of panic start to rise, she'd just pause and ask herself this one thing. Instead of letting her old, fearful identity call the shots, she started making decisions from the perspective of the person she was becoming. And you know what? The change was almost instant. Instead of panicking and cramming at the last minute, she started preparing her notes calmly, way ahead of time. Instead of avoiding practice because it was scary, she chose to do it because that's what a confident person does. She was acting as if she was already that person, and her behavior just naturally fell into line. So let's fast forward. The day of the big presentation finally arrived. But something was different. By focusing on her identity this whole time, instead of just the outcome, Maya had completely rewritten her internal blueprint for success. And that is the real magic of this whole thing. The amazing presentation she gave, that wasn't the real prize anymore. It was just the natural byproduct. It was simply the thing a confident communicator does. The very outcome she had been chasing so hard was achieved, almost as an afterthought, once she stopped focusing on. So what's the blueprint that you can use?
It really boils down to 3 simple but incredibly powerful steps. First, decide who you want to become. Get really clear on that, not what you want to get. Second, start proving it to yourself with small wins. Cast those tiny votes every single day. And third, in those moments of choice, just ask yourself that one question: what would the future me do right now? And then do that.
You see, hitting your goals isn't really about finding more discipline or just hustling harder. It's about identity. The results you want are out there waiting for you, but they're waiting for the version of you who is ready to have them. So the question I'll leave you with is this: who are you becoming?